Now that the sheetrock work is all done and the inside is painted, I've got Chet's Electric back over here to put in all the electrical plugs and get the lighting up on the ceiling. And then Kinetic Mechanical Solutions is back to install the 4 head units for the mini splits. Let's go into the shop and see how the guys are doing. So I'm on the short side. You can see one of the mini splits is up on the wall. The other one is over there. And then coming back over to the tall side, you got another mini split up there. And then another one there. And then Ted up there from Chet's Electric is putting up the lighting on the tall side right now using the scissor lift. And these LED lights should give me tons of light. And some of them are installed already on the short side also. Corey's on the outside. He's charging the condenser with refrigerant right now. That looks quite a bit like a vacuum pump that I own.
It is a vacuum pump.
Yep.
Doing an oil change before we get started, but sitting on pressure just to verify all of our connections are good before we put vacuum on it and then charge it up.
What's the spec that the Daikin condenser uses?
For vacuum?
No, for the refrigerant.
The type of refrigerant is R32.
R32.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is a A2L refrigerant, so it is a flammable gas. It's not highly flammable, but it is flammable. So
don't smoke any dope and jump rope while you're doing this.
Exactly.
Okay. Right on. What's the pressure that you're looking for on the high and low side when you have a properly filled system?
So right now I just have 300 psi of nitrogen in there. It's an inert gas, so it does help a little bit with moisture drying out the system before we put it on a vac. It also verifies that all my connection points are good before we start vacuuming. We don't waste a bunch of time, and then it equates to a properly tight system.
Gotcha.
So when it's running, because this is a variable speed, the pressures will change during outdoor ambient, indoor ambient, and its current run status. But anywhere from probably about 150 to 200 psi on the low side, and then anywhere from about 350, 375 to about 450 on the high side is kind of a general range that these will run at 90-degree ambient or so.
Gotcha. What kind of capacity does the system need for refrigerant? Like how many ounces?
I'll calculate that out. I'll take a linear footage of the piping, and then there's a formula. It's like 0.06, I believe, ounces per foot. And so I'll take that calculation, and then I will weigh the refrigerant in with a refrigerant scale.
Very cool. There's a lot of similarities to filling a automobile air conditioning system.
It's almost identical. A lot of cars use 134A or a blend of 134A. 134A has a little bit different oil type in them in cars than they do in a refrigerant system. They are pretty compatible, but you would want to recommend staying with a car auto brand refrigerant to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thanks for the class.
Absolutely.
Okay. He's vacuuming down the system to about 500 or maybe a little bit low, 500 microns. Kind of cool. A lot of similarities to filling a AC system for automotive. So Corey from Kinetic Mechanical Solutions did get the system charged with refrigerant. I think he said it took something like 20 pounds of refrigerant, so quite a bit. And he figured that out by doing the calculations of how much piping was going through the walls to the 4 head units on either side of the shop, and then calculated it out, and it was somewhere around 20 pounds of refrigerant. So the system is running, and the shop now has heat and air conditioning. But since it's winter, I won't be using the AC anytime soon. So now let's go back into the shop and we'll take a look at the final result. I'll turn on the lights. These units are running, but they're really, really quiet, which is awesome. It's gonna help out when I'm filming and the building is still getting up to temperature. I could start filming and not really have a lot of background noise. Right now, there's a big echo because there's really nothing to speak of in the shop right now, but once I get it filled up with stuff, I don't think it's gonna be so echoey in here. I've got all 4 units set to 55 degrees right now because there's really no need for me to heat it any more than that. I'm not gonna be doing much in here. So 55 degrees is a good base temperature to start with. And then when I'm working in here, I'll probably maybe kick it up to like 60, 65, and that should be a pretty comfortable working temperature. Unless we're just sitting around drinking whiskey, then maybe I'll heat it up even more. And then in regards to the lighting on the short side is really nice. Tons and tons of light from the LED lights. One thing that we had to do was run a shorter one right here because I had them put a scuttle hatch on each side of the shop so I can get up into the rafter area if I have to fix any wiring or whatever. So that's why there's a shorter light there. And then on this tall side, the 2 center lights will be swapped out. Those are just temporary lights. They didn't have the other 2 that are like this one. And so those will be swapped out soon. And then in the corners up there, there's gonna be a fan. And then there's gonna be another one right up there. And so those fans will help circulate the hot air that's gonna accumulate, and it's gonna help push it downward towards the floor. So that's it for this shop remodel update. At this point, I don't know what the next video I will be showing you for the remodel. It might be cutting out 4-foot by 4-foot sections and taking out the concrete and pouring a deeper pour so it could better support the uprights for the hydraulic lift I'm going to be getting. So we're going to be pouring about 10 inches of concrete in those sections, and then once it cures over a couple weeks, then I'll get the lift installer in, we'll drill the holes and set the anchors and get the lift installed. So I'll be cutting a 4-foot by 4-foot out of here, and then another one right over here. You can see the pilot hole that the installer drilled to see how deep the slab was, and we found out that it wasn't going to be deep enough to support the lift. Another thing I plan on doing is putting a 4-inch section of sheet metal at the interface of the bottom of the sheetrock and the top of the foundation, so it just gives it a cleaner look. Because, you know, it doesn't look perfect, and it doesn't really have to look perfect. It'd be perfectly fine leaving it as is, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to have basically kind of a baseboard finish right here. So I'll just bring the sheet metal piece like right to the top of the foundation. It'll go up like right about here. And so I think that will look a little bit nicer for a more finished look for the sheetrock. And then I'm gonna eventually build a workbench in this area right underneath the window here, and then figure out where I'm gonna be putting shelving along the walls to get stuff off the floor and up out of the way. I'm gonna be putting a TV right up here on a kind of a wall mount so I can watch my favorite YouTube channel. And so TV will go there, like right next to where the workbench is gonna be. And another thing that will be coming up is I'm gonna get a side motor for this garage door, because this garage door doesn't have a motor. And I should have listened to some of the people commenting, and also the electrician, Caleb. He asked me if I wanted a side mounted one, but then I said, we'll just do a regular one so the plug is right there. But I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna end up putting the motor right here, and there is a plug right there that we can use to power it. And hopefully the cord will be long enough and I'll just put it right there. Or, you know, we could get another plug put up there closer to where the motor is gonna be if I have to. So not a big deal, but that outlet up there is probably not gonna get used. And another thing, in regards to the garage doors, I think I'm gonna put some foam board insulation in the slat areas to increase the insulating factor of the doors, because I think I'm gonna lose a lot of heat through the door. So I'll do it for this short side and for the tall side. And that'll be another project I'll be working on to get that done. So there it is there. So that's all I have for you for this episode of the Shop Remodel. And we'll just have to see what I'll be showing you in the next episode of this Shop Remodel saga. I thank you for watching our channel. Thanks for subscribing. Peace out. Happy wrenching and happy shop remodeling. Bye-bye.